Right, so we've finally got to 2024. We're now about half the way through these apprenticeship applications. So half of them are already done. They did theirs in October, November and December. But now is the last 2 months basically. These are the last 2 really busy months of January and February. So in this video, I'm going to be going through all the apprenticeships which are closing in January. So you can watch this video, find out which companies you know to apply to so that you don't miss out on the apprenticeship opportunities and you don't miss out on the companies that you want to work at. In this video, I've got all sorts of companies. I've got loads of finance ones for you if that's something you're interested in. I've got a bunch of DTS ones. I've got a bunch of construction companies and some engineering companies as well here for you. So there's lots to look forward to in this video. And just before I get started, just a quick note, make sure you come back to next month's guide as well, the February update, which I'm going to be uploading near the end of January, because February is going to be a very busy month for apprenticeships. A lot of them have deadlines about February 20th, February 25th, that sort of time, which means the update next month's gonna be very busy. So if you're interested in being notified when that video comes out, subscribe to the channel. But without further ado, let me get on with the January update. This is the January 2024 degree apprenticeship update. So the first one we're gonna get into is AstraZeneca case. They are a pharmaceutical company and they have 3 apprenticeship opportunities, degree apprenticeship opportunities that they are doing. Automation engineering, DTS and data scientist. Okay, those are the 3 roles. So just to give you a heads up on something, you could fall into a little trap they've got. So on their website, they have the automation engineering apprentice, and then they have the 2 other ones, but they call them digital apprenticeship and IT apprenticeship. Okay, you need to make sure you're choosing the correct one you want. So if you're interested in DTS, which is digital and technology solutions, then you want to choose the digital apprenticeship. If you're interested in being in data science, you're going to study for a degree in data science, then is the IT apprenticeship case. So that's something that you need to think about. Make sure you get that right. But those are the 3 roles, and the 2 locations are Cambridge and Macclesfield. Now I'm just going to throw this out there straight away. Last year I went through the full application process for AstraZeneca and I got a degree apprenticeship offer from AstraZeneca. So if you are interested in hearing about the application process and any tips I've got and that sort of thing, then I'm happy for you to drop me an email and I'm happy to talk to you about the AstraZeneca process and give you some inside tips. Deadline for this one is the 7th of January, so you want to get on with this quickly. The next one is Arup, and this is a company in the construction industry and is a consultancy. Okay, so I would definitely recommend, if you're interested in civil engineering and construction, that sort of thing, you have a watch of my video, the civil engineering full guide, how to get a civil engineering degree apprenticeship. I go through lots of things about the industry, in particular the difference between a consultancy and a contractor, because that's very important when you're choosing a construction company. You need to decide whether you want to work for a consultancy or a contractor. I'm not going to go into it in detail today because it is in that video, the civil engineering full guide. But just bear in mind, Arup is a consultancy, and so the roles they have available, obviously they have the civil engineering one, and just something to add in here, with civil engineering you can actually pick your teams for Arup. So a lot of companies, you just apply for civil engineering and they're going to allocate you a team. So when I say team, that means, are you in the highways team, the buildings team, drainage team, ground team, rail team, like the different subsections of civil engineering. A lot of the time you just get allocated that and you don't get to choose. However, with Arup, you can pick which division of civil engineering you want. So you can pick between structural, ground and rail. So it just depends what interests you there. So structural is going to be things like bridges, things like buildings, that sort of thing. Ground is obviously going to be the ground, and rail is rail. So when you're choosing your civil engineering, you need to choose which of those 3 subsections you want to go into. And now other ones are building services. So that's things like ventilation, air conditioning, electricity, that sort of thing. There's also fire engineering. So I was actually reading this and this actually looks quite interesting. So it's obviously things like how to stop fires in the building, how to deal with fires, but there's also a bit about the psychological impact of people on fire. So I'm guessing you'd like look at how do people respond to fire, and therefore how do we design our building in a way that makes it easy for people to escape, like due to how they respond psychologically. So I just thought that was interesting. So there's a fire engineering one. We have a DTS, which is quite common. Almost every single company has DTS, so if you're interested in that, you can have that. And then 2 more which you don't really see too much. One of them is economic planning, and this is actually studying for a degree in economics. So if you're interested in economics, Here's an actual opportunity to do it in an apprenticeship. You get paid, you get work experience, and you still get the economics degree. So economic planning is an interesting one to look at Arup. And then the final one is environmental consulting. So if you're interested in the environment, interested in geography, that sort of thing, then basically the best degree apprenticeship for you is going to be environmental consulting. They have loads of locations in a bunch of cities around the UK. So let me just read those off for you. Birmingham, Bristol, Cardiff, London, Nottingham, Sheffield, Winchester, and the deadline for these is the 10th of January. Now, our first finance company of the January update is Deutsche Bank. They have their degree apprenticeship in applied finance based in London, which is going to be closing on the 28th of January. And if you want more information about Deutsche Bank, I actually have a friend who last year got an offer from Deutsche Bank. So if you're interested, drop me an email and I'll be able to send over some information to you that can help you with Deutsche Bank if you are interested in getting that finance degree apprenticeship. Okay, now the rest of these are all 31st of January. So you've got the whole of January to get your applications, CVs and cover letters all ready for this. But just bear in mind that a lot of these are going to close early, okay? Because when a location or a role becomes full, they're just going to close your application. So to be honest, I would recommend that you're getting your applications in the first half of January. Don't leave it until the 29th, 30th, 31st, because you might end up getting disappointed because you find out they've closed early. So the next one is BAE Systems, and they are an aerospace and security sort of engineering manufacturing company. So they're the largest manufacturer in Britain, and they're also actually the largest defense contractor in Europe, okay? So you're going to be working on lots of military sort of stuff, lots of good engineering stuff to do in BAE Systems. And they have a diverse array of apprenticeships. So you have mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, nuclear engineering. So that's a good one if you're interested in nuclear. And then more on the manufacturing side, you have manufacturing, supply chain, and project management. And then once again, there's a DTS role for those of you interested in that sort of thing. They have a bunch of locations, and actually I'm going to list a few here, but there's even more. So just check out the link to see all of the locations. But you've got Barrow, Brow, Glasgow Ed, Glasgow, Portsmouth, Preston, Rochester and Weymouth. Now moving on to our next company, we are going back to construction industry, and this time it's a contractor. So remember, before Arup was a consultancy, this is now a contractor. Check out my civil engineering video if you want to find out the difference. But this is Lang O'Rourke. I probably said that wrong, but let's just go with that. So obviously their degree apprenticeship, they have a civil engineering one, but on top of that they have building services, quantity surveying and design and construction management. Currently they only have like 2 specified locations, London and Oxford, but they also say that they've got more locations yet to be confirmed in the Midlands, Northwest and the South. So you'll just have to wait a bit until those actual locations get confirmed, but just apply in the meantime and you'll find out later on. Right, now I've got 2 DTS roles for you in the finance industry. So the first one is Barclays. They have DTS roles in Bournemouth, Knutsford and Northampton. And the next one is PwC. Now PwC is quite confusing with degree apprenticeships. Like there's a lot of people get confused. Let me just break like PwC and how their apprenticeships work for you, okay? So they have 3 different sectors of apprenticeship: accounting, business management and technology, okay? And they're called like flying start degree apprenticeships, right? So with accounting and business management, you apply to them through UCAS. So these aren't like traditional, like they're not like all the other apprenticeships I'm talking about. The other apprenticeships, you just study your work and then like 20% of your time you go to university. So that could be day release 1 day a week, or it could be block release, so a couple of weeks per year, right? But with these flying start degree programs, then degree apprenticeship programs, they're not like that. They're basically, you go to university normally for 4 years and you just have a summer placement each year, okay? So a lot of the time when PwC says it's a flying start degree apprenticeship, you have to apply through UCAS and you're basically just going to university normally. You still have to pay for it, but they'll give you a paid placement. So that's all it is. I don't know why they call it an apprenticeship, because that's not really an apprenticeship, but that's what it is, okay? So accounting and business management, ignore that. But with technology, they have 2 different pathways for it. There's a work first model and a study first model, okay? So the study first model is the exact same as the other one. So a study first model is, again, we just go to university for 4 years. During term time, you're at university, but then you have a guaranteed summer placement every single year where you get paid, okay? That's a study first. That's not what we're talking about. That's separate. That's UCAS. That's you have to pay for, right? What I'm talking about is the work first model, okay? And this is what the normal apprenticeship is. And they basically have 1 location and 1 role for this work first model. So this is your traditional apprenticeship. 80% of the time you're doing the work, and 20% you're either block release or day release. And this is a DTS role in Manchester. Okay, so if you're interested in DTS and you want to work in Manchester, then that is the PwC. That's the only degree apprenticeship basically they do with this work first model rather than the UCAS model. Okay, so DTS in Manchester. Okay, right, now let's move on to another construction company. This is one called Stantec, and they are a consultancy. And so they have degree apprenticeships in civil engineering and electromechanical engineering. Loads of locations for you: Birmingham, Cambridge, Cardiff, Exeter, Glasgow, High Wycombe, Leeds, Newcastle upon Tyne, Oxford, Reading, Redditch and Warrington. So all around the country. If you're interested in that, hopefully there's one near you. Going back to the finance industry, we now have UBS, which have 2 degree apprenticeships, one in applied finance and one in DTS. That location is London. So you're seeing a lot of these are in London. If you're interested in finance, most likely the best place to be really is London, because that's where all the jobs are: Canary Wharf, City of London, all that sort of thing. So yeah, this one has one location and that is London. Now going back to the final construction company, that is Murphy. You might have heard of them, J Murphy and Sons, but I think now they just call themselves Murphy, and this is a contractor. And they have 3 degree apprenticeships: civil engineering, electrical engineering and quantity surveying. Their locations are London and Warrington. Those are the only 2 confirmed, but they have loads of other unconfirmed ones in the north and the south. So again, my advice is just apply, and then later down the line you can see the locations they confirm. If they're good locations, perfect, you already applied during the application process. If they're not very good locations, don't worry about it. You can just stop the process there and focus on a different company, okay? So that's another company that you want to make sure you get your applications in by January, is Murphy. Now, the final one I want to go through in this video is EY. So they have already done a batch of degree apprenticeships, but they actually have like another batch which is going to be closing at the end of January. Of course, they're a big 4 company, so this is one that I'm sure lots of people will be interested in. So you want to make sure you're applying to this as soon as possible in sort of the first week of January, because you don't want to risk these roles closing and you end up getting to the end of January and you miss out, right? They have 3 roles: assurance, business leadership and management, and DTS. And again, with these big companies, they have loads and loads of locations all around the country, so most likely there'll be something near you. Aberdeen, Belfast, Birmingham, Bristol, Cambridge, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Leeds, Liverpool, London, Luton, Manchester, Newcastle, Reading, Southampton. Okay, so there you go. I've gone through a whole list of companies that are going to be closing their applications this January. We had quite a few finance companies, quite a few construction companies, loads of DTS roles for you, some engineering in there as well for you. So hopefully there's something that interests you. My general advice would be just try and apply as early as possible, basically, because it's the sooner you do it, the less likely you are to miss out. So if you want the full table I've put together of this, so that you have the hyperlinks which you can just click on and go straight to the application, then check the link in the description. That's going to go to the Notion page I've created, and it basically means it's going to save you time like searching up these, clicking through websites and trying to find the right page. I've just got the hyperlink right there for you. So click on that Notion link in the description and that'll help you there. If you have received value from this video, I'd appreciate if you leave a like on this video, and stay tuned for next month, because February is going to be a massive month. Okay, so it's January and February, really big months, and then by the time we get to March and April, that's where it's going to be an assessment centre sort of focus. And on that news, on the 1st of January, I'm dropping the assessment centre full guide. Okay, so if you are interested in that, then make sure you are ready for that on New Year's Day at 7 p.m. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks very much.